life, real talk, and we're tuning up your frequency for your day. I'm your host, Omari Jahi. Welcome to the podcast, y'all. Like I said, this is only going to be 15 minutes. But now, check this out. I've been on this earth for for over 60 years. And yeah, I know I don't look like it. Thank you. And if there's one thing I spend a lot of time doing, whether I'm sitting behind a mixing console or riding on a train through the city or just sitting back observing, it's watching how people operate. And lately, I keep coming back to a phrase we throw around all the time. Two simple little words: common sense. We expect it from people. We demand it, actually. We get frustrated when the person in front of us has clearly left their common sense on the nightstand at home. But let's be entirely honest with ourselves today. Is it actually common sense anymore? Or is it common sense common anymore? Or has common sense turned into a rare vintage commodity, But today, we're actually taking a look at the lost art of basic social awareness. Now, for those who may not understand what social awareness is, social is when you're out socializing with people. There are certain unwritten rules and unwritten laws, you can even say, that we have to be aware of. Now, and if nobody ever told us about these unwritten rules or laws or whatever, then that's why people look at you and say, man, it's common sense to this, that, and another. What happened to common sense? We ask these questions. We're talking about the grocery store drifter today, the public speakerphone broadcaster. We're going to be talking about that today. And what it really means to just have a little bit of respect for the folks sharing the same airspace as you. So grab your coffee, adjust your levels, and let's get into the mix, y'all. Again, I'm Omari Jahi. I'll be your host for this daily, or maybe I should say weekly, Monday through Friday, 15-minute podcast from 12 to 12:15 every day. We're going to be here. So we'll see you tomorrow as well, okay? So we have access to the highest fidelity audio technology in human history, y'all. Yet people have completely forgotten how to manage their own sound footprint in a shared space. Now, what should we be doing? Well, first of all, let me share with you what we are doing. We're in a public space having a private phone conversation on speakerphone with a friend or a relative or whoever, and we arguing and we cussing, and the person on the other end is arguing and cussing back at us, and we have it on speakerphone, and we sitting in a doctor's lobby or waiting room. And common sense would tell us, put on headphones, earbuds. But now, even with that even if you did that and you still yelling at the top of your lungs, as if you at home in your private space, nobody you, and you going off. Now, we have to ask ourselves, this is just common courtesy, but maybe it's not that much common anymore. I don't know. This is why I'm bringing this topic up today. Maybe it's not that common that we keep our private conversations private. The reality of all this is that someone's continuously having their volume and their emotions charged up while they on FaceTime arguing with somebody. They sitting on the CTA bus. Y'all been there. And they act like ain't nobody there but them. They're the only person in the room or on the bus. They swiping through TikTok, videos on TikTok with their phone on speakerphone, full blast. And we look at them and we ask ourselves, you would think that that person would have common sense to put their earbuds in, so that they can swipe through TikTok videos all day long and not disturb the peace of other people that's around them. You would think that. But I guess, again, common sense ain't that common. Now, also check this out. Just another thing that really gets my craw, as some people say. Spatial awareness. That's just respecting the physical space of the people around you. Now, some people don't even understand what I mean by that. But you would think that this is common sense. That the flow of, like you walking down the street, right? You're on the sidewalk. And this is how you should react to this thing. Now, you walking down the street, it's rush hour, maybe you're downtown or whatever, foot traffic. And you decide that you receive a text that you've been expecting or whatever, and all of a sudden you stop right there where you are in your tracks and go to read your text while there's people trying to walk up and down the sidewalk. And you just stand there, probably in the center of the doggone sidewalk, and everybody got to walk around you and circumvent you in order to get where they're trying to go. Now, some people would think that it would be common sense to step to the side, right or left, it don't matter, step to the side and check out your text messages and get out of the way of other people that's trying to get where they're trying to go. You would think that, right? But what does the reality say? We stop dead in the exact center of a busy sidewalk, or even in a grocery store aisle, or in a doorway, to respond to a notification, forcing everyone else to reroute around you like you're the only person in the world at that particular point in time. Now, something's wrong with that. Now, we might even say, well, maybe it was an important notification. Maybe it was important. I understand that. There's nothing wrong with it, taking an important text or an important call or whatever, But when you do it without taking into consideration other people and what other people are trying to do, just like you're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to go somewhere, and you decide that what you are doing, checking your notifications, on Facebook, TikTok, whatever, you decide that what you are doing at that moment is more important than what anybody else is doing, because if the shoe was on the other foot, I'm almost certain that you would be having a fit about some person standing in the middle of the sidewalk or standing in the doorway of a building, a business building now. They stop right in the doorway and look down and checking their notifications or their phone text messages or whatever, instead of going in the door and stepping to the side. What would you think about that person? You would think that person was rude as hell. You really would. That's because, again, common sense ain't that common. We think it is, but it really isn't. And there's a lot of things that we deal with. Available technology gave us the ability to reach anyone instantly. Ooh, excuse me. But we lost the common sense to realize that access does not equal entitlement. I'm going to say that again. Access does not equal entitlement. Now, what do I mean? We should understand that a text message is a polite knock on the door. Let's just imagine it's just like a polite knock on the door to be answered when the person is ready. If the house is on fire, you make a phone call. You don't send out a text message, do you? Or maybe you do. You'd be a burnt butt, I can tell you. But the reality is, again, we get genuinely angry or offended when someone doesn't reply to our non-urgent text within 5 minutes, forgetting that person is allowed to have their hands on the wheel. They could be driving. Or they might be dealing with some other things in their lives at that particular point in time. And that they're not on their screens. But we don't care. See, because common sense would tell us that, oh, maybe they're busy and they'll get back with me when they check out their text. Or maybe they're at work, you know, and they're not looking at their phones right now, because we all know that you can't be on your phones at work, right? But look, there are so many of these things. We can be on here for days. We only got like 3 more minutes, but we could be on here for days talking about common sense stuff. We're living in an era where audio and video can be manipulated in seconds. The common sense of verifying information before spreading it has almost completely vanished. Now, we take 10 seconds, or it should. That's all it should take. It's 10 seconds, because we're in an era where you can Google, you can GG, the chat, Gemini, chat, whatever, and we can verify information. But those 10 seconds that it could take to verify a sensational video, quote or headline, before hitting share and adding to the panic. See, we don't care, because it's not about common sense. It's about how I feel, what I want, what I think. And see, and this is why I'm making this this podcast now, so that we can be aware. Or maybe your parents didn't teach you or teach us anything about this. And so I'm on here today as a 60+ African-American man, sharing with you like a daddy or a grandfather that maybe you don't have, telling you there are some things that you should know in your life that is common. It's called common sense. But if nobody ever teaches you these things or share these things with you, then you really won't think that they're that common, and you won't even think anything about them at all. You know, because you believe and repost an outrageous piece of news just because it aligns with maybe, you know, what your personal bias is, or maybe you're going to get a lot of reactions from, or acting amplifier for static and misinformation. This is not what social media was supposed to be about, you guys. And so I wanted to come on here 15 minutes and share with you guys about this thing called common sense, which ain't really that common. But because we don't really understand, or really we haven't been, our awareness, I'll put it like that, has not been put to the test as far as being able to understand these things. So today I'm here, and we're talking about what's common and whether we understand what common sense is or not. That's my time, y'all. But we're going to be back tomorrow at 12. Tell a friend, tell your girlfriends, tell your homies, tell your auntie. She'll tell everybody. Aunties tell everybody, But until not next week, but till tomorrow at 12 noon, where we're going to be talking about another interesting topic. I'll see you then. Until then, continue to think for a change and get your daily mix. All right? I'm Omari Jahi. We out.
Take care of your mind, take care of your health, and we'll be back in the mix tomorrow at 12 noon. Till then, peace out.